news, and we're going to do a couple of news segments, and then we're going to go to your phones. I want to give everyone an opportunity to call in and give your opinion on the flu or any of the other news that we're going to be covering. So I'm going to turn it to Brian and go ahead and get us started in our second hour, Brian.
Cap and trade, $3,900 per family per year. The truth will set you free, April 29th, 2009. While we're being distracted by Obama's personal jet flying low over New York City, bringing back nightmares of the Mossad CIA false flag 9/11 attacks.
And can I comment on that? They're doing a photo op. Have they never had a picture of the plane there at the Statue of Liberty? And in this day and age, when Walt Disney can make movies where it looks like pigs are talking, they can't superimpose. If they really need a picture of Air Force One there with Samaramas, can't they just make it on their computer or something?
$300,000 pass by.
Unbelievable.
Look, we have money for that.
I mean, that was just unreal. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
And being shown pics from around the world of people wearing masks to protect themselves from swine flu, or a corrupt Congress that is pushing to pass the cap and trade scheme, which will put a never-ending tax on our backs that keeps doubling each year until some vogue goal is met. The Empire's 24/7 news channels are on point, reporting that the man-made swine flu nonstop from around the globe, seeding fear and confusion into your brains, while nary a peep is heard from any reporter on the floor of Congress that's debating this huge tax increase. Wall Street must be drooling over the amount of money this is going to generate, a significant amount which that bunch of gangsters will make disappear offshore, devising another of their three-card Monte games to make the money vanish. At least $650 billion a year will be taken from our pockets to fund this green collar bubble. The White House will use a portion of this tax to fund their wars for empire, and we the people will be left holding the bill again. Don't buy this hype of the innocuous-sounding Save Our Climate Act of 2009. It's just another massive fraud being perpetrated by the same clowns that told us Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, that 19 crazed Muslim fundies attacked us on 9/11. Osama bin Laden is held up in a cave with a video studio and kidney dialysis machine in tow.
One step ahead of the gigantic U.S. military, free to upload videos to the internet at will. I mean, it's so bizarre, so bizarre. We were discussing. I thought this was like the 9/11 investigation. First $3 million to investigate it, then $14 million was what the total was. The Bill Clinton sex scandals, $100 million they spent investigating that. But yeah, the disinformation that's been put out by the U.S. government, the scare tactics that's been perpetrated on the American people, and unbelievable to me, the people buy it. They believe this. You know, I mean, this flu pandemic this past week, level 5, maybe going to level 6, but it's really a mild case of the flu. We don't know what to believe anymore, because there's one thing we can be certain of: we for darn sure can't trust the puppet media and the government. You know, that's like Dr. Carly said. If they try to give us forced inoculations, you know, I'm running for the woods. I'd take my chances before I trust them. You agree?
Well, given their track record, absolutely. I mean, how many times do we have to be, bamboozled by these people to wake up and say, I'm not going to listen to them anymore.
And here, my thoughts on the war is we've been in Afghanistan since what, late 02, late 01, early 02. I'm not sure the exact date. I know we went into Iraq in 03. If we can't conquer and mandate those countries, what if we had to fight a real war like China or something? All these years have passed, $1 trillion. Bush told us that the war would pay for itself. What a lie. We've been lied to so much, and we've been manipulated so much by this puppet of a media. I mean, we have proven it last year, time and time again, reported stories just like this Baxter Pharmaceuticals that is not included in the script of the puppet press, so you don't hear anything about it. I've had email after, where'd you find that out? Where'd that come from? Why, that's not on CNN. CNN's a puppet, controlled news network. That's why you don't see it. You have to go to someone like Dr. Carly, Infowars.com, The Real News. There's several to get any real information. So it's press TV. I look at news from Iran and Russia. Trust it more than I do our own anymore. I mean, it's a sad time to be an American. But just unbelievable. But we had something that was sent to us by a listener, and since we've got just a little bit of time before the next break, I wanted to read this. And this is WCNC meteorologist Brad Panovich, Panovich. Hope I pronounced that correctly. But the sun is the main driver of climate on the planet. Its orientation to the Earth and the rotation of the Earth around the sun creates our climate and seasons. The sun has gone quiet and is now the dimmest it has been in over 100 years. The sun has hit a 50-year low in solar wind pressure, a 55-year low in radio emissions, and a 100-year low in sunspot activity. It's no coincidence that during this period the Earth has cooled dramatically, as the sun has gone into this quieter phase. Astronomers are baffled by the extent of the sun's quiet and whether it will last, or even reverse, and what effects it will have on our climate. Since the sun is the driving force of the climate on the planet, the cycles the sun goes through will have to be watched closely. So this is going into global warming, which I believe is a hoax. The other planets are getting warmer, and they don't have SUVs. Explain that. Your thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, there's no coal plants on Mars.
Last I see, unless, dark side of the moon, or they hide them on the other side, what's really going on? And I'd like to also report that Al Gore, when he left office, his net worth was $2 million. Now, since he's marched around the planet preaching global warming and is the savior of the human race, his net worth $100 million.
Again, you go into all these agendas that are being thrust upon us: environmentalism, terrorism, the financial crisis, this health crisis. The answer always just seems to be exactly what the elite want, and that's a world government, world regulations. And that should, if anything, open people's eyes to say, maybe there's more to this than I thought.
Exactly. I mean, you got to look into it for yourself, because whether you're watching Fox, CNN, any of them on the mainstream, they are manipulating you, just like Brian brought up, weapons of mass destruction. You could not turn on a TV without Condoleezza Rice, Rumsfeld, any of that crew, weapons of mass destruction. We don't want the smoking gun to come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
How many times did we hear that?
The only country in the history of the world that has ever dropped the atom bomb was us, but we're scared to death that, this other nation might possibly have one. It was all a lie. Scott Ritter, the UN weapons inspector, testified that they did not have the capability. Of course, Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. George W. Bush marched us into these two unconstitutional, atrocious wars. And in the next segment, since we don't have a lot of time since coming up to the next break, we're going to go into a little bit of the war crimes and what is happening in Spain with some judges there in regards to George W. Bush. And then we will go to the phones. I want to let people have a little longer time to call in. Next week we will have Bob Chapman, and the week after that we're going to have Jared Fuller, Young Americans for Liberty. Is that correct? Wake Forest University. You're going to really enjoy him. Young man fighting the good fight. We'll also be joined by Virginia Fox. So we've got a lot coming up. But while we've got just a little bit of time in this segment, Brian, this was reported on Yahoo News. Treasury needs record $361 billion April and June borrowing. The Treasury Department said Monday it will need to borrow $361 billion in the current April-June quarter, a record amount for this period. Let me clue everyone in that the agenda of the global list and the global bankers, all the way back to the Rothschild family, is to make all countries a debt-based nation. We don't have $361 billion sitting over here in a vault. Oh, we need that. Let's go grab that out and we'll use it. We saved it. We're prudent, we're responsible. No, not the government of the United States, the greatest debtor nation in the history of the world. We have to borrow that and enslave the population. Treasury also estimated it will need to borrow $515 billion